Hey guys, welcome back to Builds by Maz. Today I'll be showing you how we transformed our old built-in bath and shower from this into this, just by using Rustoleum's Tub and Tile refinishing kit. We got a quote to have this professionally refinished for $1,900, and we were able to easily do this ourselves for under $100, and I'll show you how you can do it too. Let's get started. The first thing I recommend doing is removing all your shower and tub hardware. I have a video on my channel showing exactly how to do all this, but it's going to give you better results than just taping around everything. Next, we'll start with some basic all-purpose cleaner to wipe down every surface. This is just stage 1 of a multi-step cleaning process. Thorough prep work is extremely important for this project, and it'll directly impact your finished results, so make sure to take your time here. Then do the same thing with a heavy-duty cleaner like this Comet Bleach. I was in the process of replacing my shower hardware, so I couldn't use my shower head for this, and I had to bring a hose inside. But I think that actually made things easier. I sprayed all the surfaces of the shower and tub to get them wet, so this bleach powder would stick to it. I then used an abrasive sponge to really scrub the cleaner into the shower walls, occasionally re-wetting the sponge whenever it got too dry. Any area that's not totally clean might interfere with the epoxy's adhesion, so you really want to make sure you don't miss any spots. Once you're finished, thoroughly rinse everything off, and this is where the hose really came in handy. Then, we'll use some 400 grit sandpaper to lightly scuff the entire shower enclosure and bathtub. This is super fine sandpaper, so you're not going to actually feel any ridges, but it's just going to promote a little bit of additional adhesion for the epoxy acrylic. Once again, make sure to go over every surface. The sanding will leave behind some dust, so we need to rinse everything off one more time. With everything clean and dry, we can now add tape around the edges to protect our bathroom walls. I prefer using the thicker frog tape. It just gives you a little bit of extra margin to work with. On that note, I'll have a link to all the products needed for this project down below in my video description. Normally, you'd also want to protect your flooring, but I'm about to replace this, so I just left it. The final step of the prep work is to use a couple tack cloths and wipe every surface to remove any dust the water didn't rinse away. These are sticky and are really good at removing this kind of stuff. Now it's finally time to apply this Tub and Tile refinisher. This is a 2-part epoxy acrylic, and it comes with a base as well as an activator. The Part B base has enough room in the container so you can pour the activator directly into it. It's really essential that these two components are extremely well combined. I started by gently stirring it, and then placed the lid back on, and vigorously shook the whole container for a couple of minutes. I gave it a final stir, just to make sure it was all homogeneous, and then I could begin applying. I recommend using a paintbrush, and starting with all the edges and corners. The epoxy will feel like really thin paint when you're brushing it on, but it thickens up pretty quickly after you apply it. I finished all the edges for this left side of the shower and then moved on to using the roller. Here you can really see how much of a difference this epoxy is going to make. It's much wider and is going to give the whole shower a brighter and more modern feel. I recommend using a 6-inch high density foam roller. That's going to give you the ideal application, and it's small enough that you can easily maneuver it. One thing I forgot to mention is that it's really important to get a good respirator for this project. I can't overstate how bad the fumes are from this epoxy. It's definitely the biggest downside of this product. I opened all our windows and kept the bathroom fan running constantly, and even so, the smell lasted in our home for almost a full week. But if you can handle that, this refinishing kit really works well. And here you can see the first coat done on the left half of the shower. I continued moving along in sections, alternating between doing all the edges with the paintbrush and the flat panels with a roller. You may notice some small bubbles in the epoxy surface as you're rolling it on, but don't worry about those, they'll go away on their own. Another tip is to use the roller horizontally to fill in any rounded corners. It's also a good idea to do all the shower walls first. That way you can stand in the tub and easily reach everything. For the same reason, you should apply the epoxy to the tub from back to front. That way you can sit on the front edge while it's still dry. The last thing I did was the top and outside of the front of the tub. And here's how everything looked with the first coat complete. Everything looks a lot wider, but you absolutely need 2 full coats of this epoxy. Right now, it still looks pretty streaky, but the second coat will make a huge difference. As far as quantity goes, I probably used about 3/4 of this kit for the first coat on my bath and shower. One kit can provide full coverage for either a bath or shower, but if you have a combo built in like mine, then I recommend getting 2 kits. They sell for about $36 each on Amazon, so they're not very expensive, and you really don't want to skimp out here. I also put on a fresh foam roller because the first one was starting to disintegrate. I waited about 3 hours before applying the second coat, and that gave it enough time to dry so I could stand in the tub again. But I just repeated the same process, making sure to give every surface a second coat. I let the epoxy cure for 3 full days and then removed the tape. It's helpful to score it with a razor blade so that way you get a nice clean pull away. You can then reinstall your shower hardware and this project is done. This really was a quick and simple way to update our bath and shower. Not to mention we saved over $1,800. We've been using this bath area for a few months now and we haven't had any issues. We also used this on another shower in our home that we could never get to look clean, but this refinishing kit totally transformed that space. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see how we remodeled the rest of our guest bathroom for under $500, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.